there, welcome to my channel. My name is Linda. I have some fun crafts for you today. So what are we waiting for? Let's get started. Today we'll be working on some farmhouse craft organization, some DIYs, a few ideas using mostly Dollar Tree supplies to spruce up your crafting area. Let's check out the before organization, and trust me, I cleaned this up. It was really bad. So I am showing you with all my filming apparatus in here, my lights, everything overhead, because I need you to see what this originally looked like and what I kind of have to organize around as I film for you guys. So let's get started with project number 1. From Dollar Tree, I'm using these makeup organizers. Now, I wished I had 3, but I only had 2 to start with. I have gone out and bought another one because I think I can add to this fairly easily, but these are going to help us create a spinning carousel. In order to do that, I'm using this spinning organizer from Dollar Tree, a pen holder. And at this particular point, I'm not exactly sure if it's going to work, but I'm thinking it is. Like, I'm doing this with you guys. I didn't check this ahead of time, but I'm assuming if it's just held in with a screw, it's probably going to work. The bottom probably disassembles from the organizer part. Now, I'm starting to spray paint just one of these. I'm doing a tester coat. I'm pretty sure the words are going to show, but I want to try it out. And yes, you can see that, and I don't like that. So what I'm going to do is just use some 20 grit sandpaper and, of course, take that off. It works fine because I'm using such a fine sandpaper. Once it's all painted, you don't see the scratches or anything in the plastic of the organizer. So I come back once that's all sanded off, and I'm going to do 2 coats on both of these. I'm not worried about painting the inside or the bottom because they're already black, and that's why I went with black in the first place. Saves me a little bit of trouble. All right, set those aside to dry outside, and we're going to disassemble this, and see what we've got to work with. Common sense tells me I can take it apart and use it, and I can. That's wonderful. So we have like 5 little pieces here. All I need to do is find a drill bit to fit this little spot where the screw is going to go into. So that's awesome. Here are the organizers. You can see it looks really nice. You don't see the scratches on it or anything like that. And if you use multiples of these, of course, you can place this in any order that you want or however design you want. So now what I'm doing is just marking the areas where the 2 pieces are going to come together so that, of course, I know where to glue this together. You can use any glue you want, but I'm going to use the Beacon Power Tack glue. I like this. It just takes 10 minutes to set it aside before you can pick it up and work with it, but of course a full 24 hours to cure. So once I get enough glue on it, not going too close to the edge because this will spread right out, I'm going to clamp it together really well. And then I let it dry for, like I said, about 10 minutes. And it was perfectly wonderful and went together perfectly wonderful. Now, let's work on the bottom. As soon as this is ready, here we go. You don't want to drill into the crack, so this cannot go in the middle of the 2 organizers. Remember, I only have 2. So I have to go off just a little bit, but it's not going to be off kilter or anything. It spins perfectly wonderful. So I'm doing a little screw hole. You can see how tiny it is, a 1/4 inch off to the side a little bit, and then making sure I place all the pieces back in the correct order. I laid them down in the correct order. I'm putting them back in the correct order. And that hole's so small, I got to use a flashlight to see down in there. Once I've located the hole, of course, I screw the screw in. And at first I got it in too tight. And I'm like, it's not working. Okay, this should work. It's not working. And so then, of course, I had to back off the screw just a little bit, turn it the other way, and let's see what happens. And of course, after it was the duh moment, back up the screw a little bit, we have success. And here's the fun part. I get to reorganize. I don't have 50 million little containers holding all my stuff. I've got one nice large unit. And yes, I think it would be cool with like 3 or 4. You can make this thing gigantic and have a great big carousel, but I love how it turns out. Now, I do want to hang my little Cricut scrapers on the side, but I didn't particularly want to use like a little command hook because I thought about on the back side using a little command hook. Even though it's supposed to be easy to take off, I still thought it would peel my paint off. So I'm just using like a large size paper clip here and twisting it the way I need so it doesn't scratch it because I've taken it on and off trying it out, and that hangs my scrapers. And here's our beautiful organization. For our organization, let's move on to project number 2. For this project, I'm using this from Dollar Tree. I got it because I thought these would make cute little individual tags for projects. I'm using this little paper clip holder. and one of these, thick wood circles. You could use 2 of these, and I'm not going to worry about the hole. We're going to make that work. But I wanted a little bit bigger base, so I'm actually going to use this cutting board from Hobby Lobby. It was only a couple dollars, 40% off. I'm going to cut the handle off outside. And then this is a 50-cent candle holder I got from a thrift store. So all of this is still very inexpensive. So here's my handle cut all the way off. And then, of course, I sanded it up, and then I sanded up this round circle a little bit, kind of, rounding up the edges a little bit. And my thing is I wanted a little bit bigger base on the bottom and that on the top. And I'm going to spray paint everything outside, all right? I'm also going to spray paint this as well. Take the thing out. And here's what it looks like spray painted, but I decided it was because I went a little bit more of a brown tone when I got done with it. But then I was liking the black more on like this. So I go outside and I spray paint all the rest of it more black, but it's the same process. Once it's spray painted, I'm going to come in here with some sandpaper and distress the edges a little bit, giving it a little bit of a rustic look because it goes more in with everything else that I have, around my craft area and the way I like to craft, obviously, which is kind of a rustic farmhouse look. Again, left the hole. I'm going to leave that there. All right, and then I'm going to distress this up a little bit as well. I didn't paint it as much so that some of the paint that was already on there, the white and stuff, would kind of come through on the little indents between the fluted areas and stuff like that. Bringing out the Beacon Power Tack glue again, I'm going to glue my base. You probably don't need a base on this, but I wanted to make sure I had, because this is really lightweight, I wanted to make sure I had something underneath it that is a little bit more substantial weight so that it doesn't, of course, fall over. And then, of course, you all know me. I got to measure everything and make sure it's totally even all the way around. That's just that brain of mine. And then I put a little piece of scrap wood in the center of this. It's just the right height. Give me a little bit more something to glue on the top to get that thick wood circle on there. And then I let it set about 10 minutes and I can work with it. All right, let's move on. While that's setting, I'm going to take this apart, so that, like I said, I could use one little tag. It actually I got my heat tool out thinking I might have to heat it and stuff, but everything just pretty much twisted and popped off. All right, and then I'm going to go ahead and sand down. There's like some glue on the side, so I'm getting that off of there. And then off camera, I'm going to go ahead and add in some sealer because I want to fill those holes up. And then, of course, I want to sand off the letter here because I don't want to have to see it. So wood filler in the holes off camera. Here that is. And now I'm going to, of course, go ahead and sand that and make it nice and smooth. Now, this project is a play on a regular old little pincushion. I wanted to make it fun and have some decorative style to it, but a little bit rustic, a little bit farmhouse. This might not be for everybody, but when I organize, I don't want it just plastic bins sitting everywhere, which I love. I love those organizational videos. They're showing a pantry, you open it up, and all those beautiful plastic bins and all the labels. Oh my gosh. But this is a crafting area. I want to enjoy and have fun with the things I'm going to be using. I wanted to have a little bit of personality. All right. So once I got the sides and the back painted with Debbie's Design Diary DIY little black dress spray or paint, then of course you saw me drill a hole in it. Then I paint the front, I allow it to dry, and I'm coming in and distressing that as well so it matches the base we're putting it on. And then I'm just cutting some scrapbook paper here to fit the bottom of our little tag here. I will use my sewing machine and sew around, hello Bella, sew around the edges of the paper off camera. I've got that done now. And then I'm just taking my scissor blades and scraping around the edges of the paper to give it a little bit of a rustic look. For my quote, I just used my Cricut machine and I just created this that says create your happiness, which is part of my logo all over social media. Even that sign behind me that I do my introductions in, it says create your happiness behind me. You could, of course, print anything you want. You could print it onto paper and then cut it out to fit your little tag. You can, handwrite something on there, whatever you want, if you want anything at all. Once that's done, I'm going to go ahead and glue it to the front of our tag. You can see my Beacon Fabri-Tac glue. And then we're going to set that aside and work on our pin cushion. So this grayish fabric is from Jubilee Fabrics. The floral is from Walmart. And I guess I should say I'm making this because I want it a little bit higher. I actually stand when I craft. So if I can just kind of reach over to the side of me and grab pins out would be perfectly wonderful. So what I'm doing now is just measuring the side of my container so I know how wide of a strip I need to rip here as I'm doing. And I will iron it off camera so it's nice and smooth. And then I just free-handed a horrible looking circle. But I've got this the right width for that and my circle. And if you didn't want to go through all this, you could just purchase one of these already made at Dollar Tree. Just make sure if you go this route, you pick a container this will fit into. This won't fit into this particular container I have here because I've tried it. So basically, we're just taking cotton batting and we're getting it inside our material and we're going to put this into our cup. Nice and easy. Okay, the first thing I want to do, gluers, you can just glue all this together and glue it into your cup, but I want to make some gathering stitches around it. It's going to be easier to get everything all contained. So I'm taking a needle, I put it into my fabric, and now I'm just pleating the fabric back and forth onto the needle many times as I want, and then pull the needle all the way through the fabric, and then I come and do it again, back and forth, many pleats as I want until my needle's full. Pull it all the way through, and I'm going to do this all the way around the circle till I come close back to where I started. I'll pull my needle out, and then I'm going to pull out that knot where I started, so I have two big long pieces of thread there. Okay, and leave those there. You can leave your needle on for right now, whatever. Then open that up and stuff your cotton inside. It looks like a lot, but once we close it up, it's going to scrunch down, of course. So I make sure I have a nice amount in there and pull both of those long strings at the same time. And then it's going to close up our circle. And then what you're going to do is just tie it off into a knot. I do about 6 or 7 little knots. I leave the needle on to help me, get through the little thing and make knots. And then once you're done, cut off your excess needle and thread there, and it's ready to go. Boom, cutting it off. All right, I'm going to set that aside. And what I'm going to do with this fabric here is just wrap it around once, overlap it a little bit, and cover the outside. For me personally, I just didn't want the container to show, but you could totally leave that open, of course, and not even do this part. Using my Beacon Fabri-Tac glue, we're just easy peasy, wrap it around it, cover that right up. It fits perfectly in there. Loving how it looks. It gives us kind of that country rustic farmhouse look we're going for. How many words can I use to describe this? And then with the rest of that fabric, I'm just going to tie it in and make a cute little bow. Then, of course, once that's done, we're going to glue it to the side of our container. And then we're going to go ahead and use a ton of Beacon Fabri-Tac glue here and glue our pincushion inside the container. That's all done, and here's what it looks like. And if you just wanted to make this and not put it on a base like I'm going to do, super cute. So my tag here, let's come back to that. I've tied some twine through the holes, made a little knot at the top, and then I'm just adding some glue in the hole of that big circle, and I'm just going to slide the twine down into it until it reaches the little knot. And then it looks like we ran it all the way through, of course. Perfect. And then, obviously, we're going to glue our pin cushion to the top. Again, if you don't want to make the base and you just want to make the pin cushion really cute, your choice. But I love, love, love how it turned out. I think it's so super cute. Let's add some pins into it to finish and organize this off. I'm excited for this one. Let's move on to project number 3. For this project, I'm using the handle of a toilet bowl plunger from Dollar Tree and some of this painter's paper. You can get it at Harbor Freight. I'm sure Dollar Tree, they have like that wrap paper when you mail presents you could use. You might have to cut it down. I thought I was going to have to cut down a large dowel, but I have about 4 or 5 of these handles from the toilet bowl plungers, and I found one that was just an inch bigger. It was perfect. Basically, what I want to do is slide this onto the plunger. You all know when I'm painting, I always have paper down below me and I'm always tearing it off this. It's always down on the floor. I got to bend down over, find it, rip a piece off, put it down there. So I wanted something eye level I can just rip and go. So to help me rip that, you all know I have an obsession with rulers. I'm rulering everything. I'm going to use that and this, the little cutting edge off of one of the those extra long rolls of tinfoil. I call it tinfoil. A lot of you Reynolds wrap, whatever you want to say. And then I'm going to use this faux leather from Dollar Tree and some furniture tacks because it's a lot longer than just a push pin. Okay? I'm going to cut off 2 of these, an inch wide. I know Dollar Tree does have the ones that's the faux leather on a roll, but I don't have any, so I'm using the stuff that's in, like to use for Cricut. And then I didn't want to just pull off this metal thing off of the box, because if any of you have done it, what does it do? It just curls right up. So I'm like, I'm going to leave it on there, and I'm just going to cut around it so it stays nice and straight on the box. It's going to get hidden anyway. And then I'm using my Beacon glue here. This is the quick grip glue. I either use Power Tack or quick grip glue, either one works the same, but when I saw the Power Tack, I'm like, I wonder if that works even better than the quick grip. They both work the same, but that's why I grabbed both of them. So adding some glue onto it, I've cut my ruler down to about 18 inches, my yardstick, and then I'm just gluing this on the underside right at the edge of the ruler. You could use like a paint stick, a long paint stir stick if you want, but I like the idea of the ruler because like I said, you all know I'm always rulering and measuring everything. I cut any excess off the ends and now I'm going to clamp it. As you can see here, it's clamped really well and let that set a while. So I'm taking my couple end strips here. They're about 12 inches long. I'm going to fold it in half. All right, and then what I'm going to do once I fold both of them in half, now you could totally glue this part, but y'all know I'm going to sew it. I'm going to take the open end one, the open end that's cut, wrap it around, and then the folded end at the top, and I'm going to come about an inch down and wrap it up over like this, and then I'm going to sew around that, okay? Does that make any sense? So this is what it looks like I'm starting out with. I fold it in half, and I sew it around it, okay? Then I'm going to bring that open end up, the cut end up, and I'm going to fold over the folded end. And I'm going to leave some space in there. You don't want it really tight against your stick because you got to be able to pull your stick out when you run out of paper and you need to add new paper, right? So that's the thing to think about. And then sew around the edges of both of those squares. So now here I am. I'm doing it on the side of my paper holder. This is almost basically, it's a 2-row, all my scrapbook paper. It's almost floor to ceiling of these cubes of paper, and I thought it's right there where I do my crafting, my craft desk. So I measured at the top where I want to put some starter holes in there, and then I'm going to add in my little holders, take my little furniture tack, put some fabric over the top because I don't want to hammer right on top and take the paint off of that furniture tack, and then just hammer that in so it's nice and tight. And I'm going to do the same thing on both sides. I thought this was a nice, easy way. I could have screwed it in, but these tacks, because the little tack part is longer than just a thumbtack, it's holding really well, and I really yanked and pulled on it. And plus, the wood of my cube is very dense, my paper cube there. So see, I put it partway through the holder. I'm a little bit off camera, but you can see, put it through my paper roll, and then come through to the other edge of my holder. Just like that. There we go. And it pulls fairly nicely. A little tight, but it pulls nicely. Okay, I'm going to roll it back up. Let's work on the bottom part here. I just kind of wanted to show you this process. So I figured out where I wanted to be able to stand and just rip this paper off, of course. So I'm marking down how far down I want it. And then I'm going to mark it across, make sure I'm nice and even. See, it's a ruler. You guys, I have so many rulers. You are going to laugh when we go to start. I show you some of my just organizing. Yeah, you're going to crack up at how many rulers I have. And it pained me to cut this yardstick. Now I have to go buy another one. I know. What is it, a fetish with rulers? I don't know. All right, so I've got my ruler where I want it. And, of course, I am drilling through that and into the wood. I know how long. I've got my nails I'm going to be using here. They're pretty, I think, like 1¼ inch nails. And at first I hammer it all the way in, but you don't want to do that because then what happens, your ruler is too tight to whatever you're putting it up against. So you're going to see me use like a Cricut spatula here, see? And that's just wide enough to help me kind of shimmy it back and forth to give me enough space between. See, I can now slide it all the way across, enough space between the ruler and the cube that I'm putting it on. There we go. That gives me just enough space, that easy slide, and I can pull my paper through. I don't rip it so straight. But I'm really excited about this because now it's at eye level and it's going to be so much quicker to pull it off. Look, I'm excited. I'm clapping. Okay, so we have 3 DIYs made. Let's do some organizing. So at a recent trip to a thrift store, you'll see that video pop up in a couple of weeks. I found these canisters I thought would be really cute. I love that they're just real simple. So some ideas for you, obviously some canisters to use to organize with. And we're going to clean up this little mess right here. I mean, it worked, and the containers that they're in all came from Dollar Tree, but I just wanted it down to just like 3 containers. Look at the rulers. I counted them up, you guys. I have like 21 rulers. But what's funny is whenever I need a ruler, because I pick them up and I walk off with them, it's like, where are the stinker all my freaking rulers? So now I have them all in one convenient location. Love it. All right, now we're coming on to the next one. I have a ton ton of paintbrushes. So these next two containers, I'm going to kind of put the bigger, wider paintbrushes in one, and then all like my little fan brushes and stuff in another one. Organize how you want, of course, but I had so many. I thought I was going to put all my paintbrushes into one container and then still have another container for my other stuff, but it didn't work out. And you can see my paintbrushes to the right laying on the table there. Those all need cleaned. So yeah, a little bit too many paintbrushes, but you never have one when you need it. Now, I was originally going to use this container from Dollar Tree. It's a little 3 organizer one, but then I ended up changing that around even still, and you'll kind of see that in the final looks. But perfect, because I always grab a lot of pens, and I like to use those big craft sticks for mixing my paint and stuff like that. And then my buttons were originally in these cute little hinged things, but they were kind of a pain having to open and close the lids. So these other containers are found at Dollar Tree in the bathroom section. Hello, Bella again. And I'm just kind of sorting out my buttons, putting them in there. I can easily see them better. I like it better. They're smaller and they're, more accessible to get into. All right, buttons finished. Got to have enough buttons. I almost didn't get all those in there. Perfect. And now another container from Dollar Tree. If you haven't thought about it, look in the bathroom section. That's where they'll have a lot of nice kind of see-through clear plastic containers. And I'm just keeping out my most used stuff. I did have like everything out, but I don't need everything out except my rulers. Nobody laughing at me. I needed a place accessible for like my remote to turn off my overhead lighting and my most often used scissors. So this works perfectly for me. And then I'm always searching for my old lady glasses. So now I have them in a container. And then these are a couple of drawers I picked up at a local antique show I went to. And I know I'm not doing anything nifty and real exciting with them, but I want to be able to enjoy these antique treasures that I find. So instead of all these containers loose about, why not put them into one? Then I've got room for my glue and my water bottle, my coaster for my coffee cup, that kind of thing. And then here's another idea for you. We all have those Dollar Tree $1.25 bright as heck glue gun mats, but this drives me nuts. Can't stand the movement. So I actually walk by Lucky clearance kitchen aisle silicone baking mat, does not move, and look how big it is, and it's not bright pink, so it's a little easier on the eyes. My last little tip for you, if you have bed springs about, you're wondering what to do for them, so easy, or what to do with them besides all the crafting we've done, they're perfect size to hold a ball of twine and adds a little bit of whimsy to your crafty organization decor. It gives us that rustic kind of farmhouse fun look, so why not use them like this? I love this idea. With that said, let's take a look at the final results. So I hope you enjoyed today's video. I just wanted to give you some organizational ideas and some DIYs that you could use. And I know it's not like, oh yeah, she needs to have a YouTube organizational channel. That's not it at all. I just wanted to share some fun tips with you, some ideas, some DIYs, like I said, to make your craft supply area like accessible and organized, of course, but also that you can have it reflect your personality and the things that you enjoy. I left all like my light stands and everything in here because that's what I have to work around. That's how I have to organize my stuff around. So I'm leaving it real for you guys, and a little bit of Bella as she comes up to the video. Left that in for you too, because that's what I have to work around. That's what I have to work with. Anyway, please leave me a comment down below and let me know if you would try any of the DIYs I shared, or if maybe the DIY gave you another idea, like oh, I like that, but I'm going to do this with it. I'd love to hear if I helped you at all, or any of the other ideas I shared with you, if you're like, oh, I didn't ever think of that. Who knows? Because there's a lot of ideas out there. Please give this video a thumbs up. It really helps my channel to grow. And if you walked in here for the first time, you're just checking things out, you're digging what you saw, make sure before you click off, you hit that subscribe button and notification bell so you don't miss out on another video from me. Love that organizer. Before I go, I'm going to leave you with one final thought. It may be possible at this very moment you are walking through an unexpected crisis or a time of uncertainty, and the current situation may not be working out the way you imagined it would. Through this ordeal, you've talked with God for countless hours. Time has been spent on your knees, listening, waiting for God to show up. Your thoughts are hopeful. Your heart is expectant, willing that He would come on time and take care of everything the way you were desiring it to be. In the end, though, things may not work out as you were hoping. You may even feel like God didn't show up. Your heart may experience sadness, anger, maybe even bitterness toward God. These are natural emotions when things just don't happen the way you want. God never said life would be easy. He has mentioned that He would do all things according to His purpose and His plan for your life. He stated He would never harm you, and He would give you a hope and a future. God is good, and He is able to do all things. It's just that your timing isn't His timing. There are a lot of other things He has to consider and put together, things you just don't know about or understand. In this difficult situation, as the pain of it all rises, your heart feels hurt, and you feel like you aren't hearing God, and you don't know what to do. It's now that you have to trust Him most. It's important to release any bitterness, release any pain, and realize that God does hear you, even if you don't hear Him. You may not understand why things are happening the way they are, but God knows exactly what's going on. He knows exactly how you feel, and He knows exactly what needs to happen and when it needs to happen so that everything works out as it should. You have to walk in faith or allow God to carry you. He will carry you if that's what you need. Continue to have hope that His resurrection power happened for you. You are not alone, and He will show you the way out. If you don't put your trust in Him, your only other option is to let the fear and defeat drag you down into a pit with no light to guide you out. This option lets the enemy have the victory. Having you stuck in darkness allows your soul to focus on the pain, and this is exactly the kind of ending the enemy wants. Don't give in and don't give up. Jesus did not die for you to hand the enemy the win. Jesus' death on the cross gave Him the keys to death, which defeated the enemy, giving you the victory, so that with Jesus, no weapon formed against you shall prosper. You must stand tall, find your strength, and let Jesus uphold you with His right hand. Allow Him to steer you forward. With His protection and guidance, you will get through this and come out stronger than ever. His strength will lead you home, and the enemy has no power to touch that. I thank you for sharing your time with me, and I'll talk with you again soon. Bye.